Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello, y'all. Hello. I'm trying to navigate this weird StreamYard that they have going on. Just have a dual screen, dual this, dual that, which I really don't like, which I really don't care for, right? So I'm trying to navigate it all, right? So we found out that neither party really gives a shit about the working poor. Because the honest to God truth is, ACA or Obamacare, as it's called, the ACA as it's called, is really for a specific demographic that would get ACA. It's not for the people who have jobs, right? It's not for them. It wasn't for the poor, like the elderly, the handicapped, and X, Y, and Z. It was for people who had a specific amount of income. It just wasn't a lot of income. So I kind of figured that, but I wasn't sure, because most people can go into the ACA and they can apply for the ACA. Hello. Y'all come in. Hello. Hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button, please and thank you. No, I'm not a brother. I just got the flu. And it makes my throat, my voice very deep. No, but my picture is up there. So ACA is primarily a medical insurance for people that are in between getting Medicaid or Medicare and a regular insurance that people get from that. Like Walmart, they told me that Walmart people don't get insurance. So I didn't know, I didn't know whether Walmart got insurance. I didn't know they didn't get insurance. And I didn't know that they really didn't hire people full time. So you take that, for example, and they need health insurance, right? So that ACA bridged the gap between the people who don't work and the people who have a job that gives them insurance. Because most people have insurance through their job. But this ACA is designed for people who need that help, right? So, and it's called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, or whatever, designed, they got it done in March 2010. So they were on the way of making that ACA. They were going to make it a single payer, just like Medicaid and Medicaid, but because the Democrats always want to pull Republicans along. They always want to pull the Republicans along. They always want the Republicans to come on board. They watered down the ACA to get help from the Republicans, and the Republicans never voted for it. They never wanted the ACA to come into fruition. So now, and they know it, and that's the bad part. The Democrats know that the Republicans are not going to bend to the knee, give them anything when it comes to the ACA. So today we saw the very weak leadership in the Democratic Party. Weak as in weak as in meaning they don't stand for the poor people of this country ahead of their donors. Okay, ahead of their donors. So since they don't stand with the poor people ahead of their donors, that makes them weak. And this is why they capitulated today. Last night. I guess it might have been last night, right? So they gave in last night when they didn't need to. All the cards, they had all of the cards. The Democratic leadership had all the cards. Hey, T. Elizabeth, hey. The Democrats had all of the cards. They had just gotten off a fresh win from the Tuesday night. Okay? They had just gotten off a fresh win. But they decided that somebody got to Chuck Schumer, somebody got to all of the senators, all of them. They really don't want to help the poor people in this country. Okay? They really don't want to help the poor people in this country. And the problem is that we all get screwed. It's the people between the working class, the really working class, who get Medicaid and Medicare from their job, and the poor people. Okay? So now we're stuck. Here's the thing. We, or Chuck Schumer, gave up their position. They had them. They had the Republicans. Because what was the Republican? That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do was go home and say, I ain't fucking with y'all. Drip D8, you need to stop. You need to stop. Because if you can't think beyond your nose, ain't nobody talking to you. The whole point was blue can win in blue states all day long. The point was the margins was the whole shebang. That was the beauty of the win. If you don't understand margins, then you're dumb. Stop talking about blue winning blue. Everybody expected blue to leave blue. Everybody expected that. The margins, who voted for who, what demographic voted for what, is what's important. Stop saying the obvious. Starting to sound like a zombie. So, here's the thing. The Democrats gave up the position of having the Republicans over the barrel. See, if you don't know you got somebody over a barrel, you don't know you got all the leverage over somebody, then you're going to fumble the ball. This is what the Democrats, the weak-ass Democrats, did. They fumbled the ball. If I was in charge, I'd have went home and went on vacation for 3 months. American people be damned. The American people gave them a mandate on Tuesday. The American people gave them a mandate on Tuesday. Shut your ass up, Drip D. Shut your ass up. Because you dumb, and now you're going to piss me off. I'm already pissed that our dumbass, our weak-ass Democrats capitulated to this this clown, this orange clown and his gang of thieves. Excuse me. I'm already mad that they capitulated to them. Okay? I can't wait. So here's the thing. They gave everything up for a promise of a vote. The Republicans have lied to the Democrats before. So I don't understand why they would have even believed any of those things anyway. I don't understand why they would have believed that the Republicans are going to give them a opportunity to vote on it. The Republicans have to bring the bill to the floor. Chuck Schumer cannot bring the bill to the floor. So they're waiting on the behest. They're waiting on the good graces of the Republicans to bring a bill to the floor that the Republicans don't even want to vote on. The Republicans don't even want to vote on it. They don't want to give you health care. They are standing on what they stood on in July. In July, they said they didn't want this bill. They said it in July. We don't want this Medicare. We don't give a damn about these people having Medicare. These people can go fly. And you have to remember, they're talking about the people that make between 15,000 and say 30,000. They're talking about those people who make between 15,000 and 30,000. They told those people to go fly in July. They said, y'all can kick rocks. We ain't supporting y'all in this ACA. And now people are piling on. ACA ain't no good. ACA ain't X, Y, and Z. Okay, so what are you all going to do with those people who were on ACA? Seeing as how all of those people are going to get off of that ACA because they won't be able to afford it. It's going to be 50,000 plus people that get off of it and then they end up taking dirt naps. So what do you do about those 50,000 that's going to end up taking dirt naps because we had this weak Democratic leadership that caved on bullshit, on a promise, caved on a promise of a vote that the Republicans don't want to give them. Okay? The Republicans have never voted yes on any kind of government Medicaid, medical at all. Ever. They've never voted yes on anything when it came to regards of medical. I don't understand why the Democrats gave up the position that they gave up just for a promise. And the thing is, I know that these people were set this shit up. We know they set this shit up simply because the people that voted for this bill were either two people or three people who had already won their seat, two or three people who are retiring, or two or three people who were going to vote for it anyway, who didn't give a damn. So all of these people had to land on the sword. All of these people who were already getting ready to quit, retire, X, Y, and Z. So those are the ones. So now you think we stupid, like we don't know that this was planned. They would have capitulated on Thursday, right? It's not for most Americans. Drip D, you're gonna have to start doing your research. We don't allow dumb shit in the chat. ACA is for people who make between 15 and 30,000. Of course, they're not going to be able to afford it when the premiums go up. But that's better. What they're paying for is better than what they're not going to have after December. Maybe you don't pay for it, but there's other people who need medical. Shut your ass up if you don't have no damn solutions. So these people gave it up for this ACA. Instead of all of them saying, instead of the Democrats saying with a weak position, they had, see, what does it say when you have somebody over a barrel and you don't know they have somebody over a barrel? Like I said, I would have walked in and told them, you need 60 votes, right? If you need 60 votes, you better come over here because we ain't bending. We ain't talking to y'all. We not having a conversation. I'd have turned around and looked at all the senators and say, hey, 3-month vacation. We having a 3-month vacation. We ain't talking to them until they come over here and tell us that they're gonna put the ACA subsidies back into this bill. We ain't talking to them. So don't call me. Don't call my office. Do all the negotiating between you and Donald Trump. And when y'all come back and talk to us about that ACA and putting it back in the bill, present a bill to us that has the ACA in it. Then we can talk to y'all. Okay? The whole point is they capitulated. They threw us under a bus. No, they didn't throw me under the bus. I don't know how. We don't know how these ACA we don't know how this subsidies ending is going to affect regular people who get regular medical through their employer. We don't know how that affects us at all. We do know that the people who make between 15 and 30,000 are the people that normally are on ACA. Okay, those are the people that are normally on ACA. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that their payments are reasonable. I'm hoping that they're reasonable. I don't know. I was going to go on the exchange and I was going to go in there and see what they would give me as a older person, as a retired person, see what they would offer me. Because I know that somebody that's making X, Y, and Z can possibly get on Medicaid, because I know that they extended it. They had extended it, right, to expanded the eligibility for the public program, the Medicaid. Okay. So it was a bunch of marketplaces called exchanges, right? So individuals and families could buy insurance. And people keep saying, oh, well, it went up. It went up. It went up because of yes, they had the cards. The whole point was they had the card. If I tell you I'm not coming to the table, no, wait a minute, hold on. You're the person that's in charge of everything. The public is blaming you for everything. And you want me to help you so the pain or the everything will stop. But you want me to help you. I'm not coming over there to help you till you do what I say, until you do some of the things that I want you to do. Okay? So they had all of the cards. And then when we won all of the elections, we won all of the elections on Tuesday. We had even more of cards. Even more cards. You see there? You see Republicans? America blames you guys. You guys need us Democrats. We ain't coming over there till you put them ACA exchange subsidies back into this bill. They had them over a barrel, and then they just gave it back. That's wild. They just gave it back. That's the way most of us Democrats are looking at it. You gave it away. Okay? That's the whole point. They gave it away. What is why women should not be in charge? What are you talking about, Black America? What are you talking about? The whole point was to force them to fix ACA. We already in a recession. Convergence. We already in a recession. What do you mean? We would have been official or not. We're already there. Just because you're not calling it that don't mean we ain't there. They got nothing. If you can just close, if you can just stop, if you can just go back and if you can just close down right now, if you could just close down from on strike right now, then why the fuck didn't you just do it on the first week and get it over with? You could have got the same garbage that they got the second week. They didn't get anything for the 40 days that they were down. That's the whole point. What is the point of holding people hostage if you were going to capitulate to a certain point? Oh my God, everybody's hurting. Oh my God, we're going into a global recession. Oh my, you knew that before you knew that before you went into this shutdown. You knew that. You knew it was going to be a global recession. You knew all of this. So why back out now? Why not just capitulate on the second day? Why not just say, fuck it? Oh no, we gonna have too much. No, you took 40 days and 40 nights of nothing, and then you got nothing. We could have been done with this 2 weeks in. We could have been done with this with a weekend. Oh no, let's just let's just stay for 2 weeks, and then we just gonna show them 2 weeks worth of resistance, and then we're gonna give it up. Okay. The Republicans are getting blamed for it. Now these weak ass Democrats get blamed for it. Here, let me show you. What did they get? What did they get for this? What did they get for this?
Spending bill passes, they get SNAP benefits. They did halt the reduction in force notices, the mass layoffs the Trump administration conducted during the shutdown. But that wouldn't have happened if the government wasn't shut down, or at least not in the same form. They got nothing on ACA subsidies. They got a vote in the Senate. There's no vote scheduled in the House. There'll be some efforts to get a vote in the House, but Mike Johnson has been abundantly clear that that's not something he's interested in doing. So I do agree with Allie that Wednesday does feel a bit quick for a package of this magnitude. But the speaker said he wants everybody to be back within 36 hours after a Senate vote. And again, it's tough to see Democrats just falling in line, but that jet fumes dynamic after being in session for so long is going to be very strong.
So these people right here were the ones who capitulated. Right here. He's retiring. He just got reelected. One of these people are retired. He's retiring, I know. He don't give a damn. One of these ladies is retiring, and the other ones just got reelected. So you picked all of your least vulnerable people, to fall on the sword. So you think we were dumb that we knew what was going on as soon as you said you caved. So all it is 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. We could have gave up in 2 days and been done. So now people get nothing. So now we got 50,000 plus people who gonna be taking dirt naps. 50,000 people that gonna lose their lives. People gonna get kicked off of Medicaid, Medicare, ACA, all of that. And you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, ACA ain't no good. ACA X, Y, and Z ain't no good." Well, that's better than anything. It's better than nothing. Okay, before ACA came along, people couldn't get any kind of health care. People was just in the street. Medicaid had not been extended. Okay, in ACA, Medicare is extended. Medicaid is extended. The whole point is, why can't you all fix ACA? But they don't want to fix ACA. Nobody wants to fix ACA except the Democrats, and they're not in charge. So as long as the Democrats are not in charge, ACA won't get fixed. So all of those people are going to lose their health care. HQ, are those 50,000 people more important than the people that were working? Yes, those 50,000 people who are going to die are more important than the people that are working without insurance. Obviously, that's an obvious yes. What do you mean? Okay. So the whole point is, all of those people, the point is, those people are going to get off of ACA. They're not going to be able to afford it. They got preconceived conditions. They got pre-existing conditions. They have chronic illnesses. They have X, Y, and Z. Yeah, it's some weird. I don't understand what's going on. It's some weird shit to healism. I don't understand what's going on. I was trying to figure it out. I didn't want to dual stream, but apparently that's it. Won't be cut. Medicaid and Medicare won't be cut. Medicaid and Medicare was cut in July, drip dummy. It was cut in July. Get into the game. Be quiet if you don't know what you're talking about. That was a part of the ACA. Shut up. They cut some of the Medicaid and Medicare and ACA in the summer already. Shut up, Drip, if you don't know what you're talking about. So they already cut portions of Medicaid and Medicare in the summer in the big, beautiful bill. Those were the things that they wanted them to put back into the bill so that people would be able to get medical insurance. Okay. So that they would be able to continue with their Medicaid and Medicare and ACA. But all of that has already been taken out. The subsidies for ACA and a portion of the Medicaid and Medicare. So all of those people are going to lose. The people who were on ACA are going to, their premiums are going to go up 3-4 times. So off the rip, if I'm paying $400 a month for insurance and now it goes up to $1,200, obviously I'm going to drop the ACA. Regardless of whatever medical condition I got, I can't afford the $1,200. And these subsidies, this ACA is tailored to people between 15 and 30,000. The bulk of the people are 15,000 to 30,000. So you know they don't make no money. So when they premiums go up because the ACA subsidies are not there, then that means that 50, 60 millions of people are going to be kicked off of ACA and Medicare and Medicaid. And so that's where the people who are going to be sticking, croak, those are the people that are going to be off, lose their lives. Those are the people there. Okay. When I say people are going to lose their lives, that's what I mean. When they drop the health insurance and they have a vote, don't get me wrong. The Republicans promised the Democrats a vote. Okay. It all depends on if they work for a company, Black America. If they work for a company that offers medical insurance, they might take that medical insurance. But what if their company doesn't offer them insurance? That means they had to go to the ACA. Okay. Y'all see what you got to deal with every day. Every day you got to talk to these goofies. Every day. Every day you got to talk to goofies like Drip. They didn't just cut Medicaid and Medicare fraud, Drip. They cut it because they didn't want to pay for it anymore. Okay? So they promised the Democrats at the end of the year that they were going to have a vote. The Republicans have never voted for medical ever. So they're going to hold a vote and every Republican is going to say no. And they're going to be right where they are today, not getting anything. That's why I said they should not have capitulated. They should have held the line and made the Republicans change their shit. Now they won't change at all because they have no reason to. Because at the end of the year, they only have a promise of a vote, a promise of a vote. Okay? A promise of a vote. What does that mean? That means we don't care about what you want.
Standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then, so standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power. And then,
and this is the criticism that people have always offered against Vote Blue no matter who, which I think it's complicated, I think it's conditional, but the fundamental argument is correct. The fundamental argument is if you have no standards for which Democrats you elect, you'll just accept any old Democrat as long as they're not a Republican. This is going to keep happening.
Right.
This is why you have to go as hard against the Democrats as you do the Republicans. He's not even technically a Democrat. Democratic caucus, whatever you prefer. You understand the sentiment, you know? Either way, they're taking the blame for this one. Oh, man.
The group of moderates who broke ranks and voted with Republicans in the legislation to fund the government and hold a later vote on extending Affordable Care Act tax subsidies that expire January 1st. Senator, thanks so much for being with us. Why did you decide to vote with Republicans to open the government?
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were two goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was practically, well, there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up
That's
to
why.
Donald
That's
Trump,
why.
the shutdown actually gave him more power. Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP.
Yeah, he
and
was
SNAP
doing
benefits
great
across the country. Oh, by
Yeah, I got a better one. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got a better one. This is the real Democrat right here. Here we go. Hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Some people would think that this is a capitulation if you only agree to a standalone vote.
Need to understand how the Senate works.
standing
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix the double stream.
up to Donald Trump didn't work. It's been 6 weeks. There's been the Republicans made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits, until the shutdown was over.
See, they weren't gonna talk about it. The Republicans didn't want to talk about it. They didn't want to they didn't want to re-up the Medicaid or the Medicare, or they didn't want to give nothing. Okay? But here's the thing. Your shit had to be bigger than theirs. My dick would have been bigger than theirs. Oh, hell no. You ain't coming to the table. We all going on vacation. Exactly what I would have did to them.
We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write.
That means jack shit. That means jack shit.
No one in
Because the Republicans can let you write as many bills as you want to. That doesn't mean that they're going to let you pass it. They're going to vote on it. The Republicans are going to vote on it, and they're all going to say no. Okay?
the Senate chamber.
James, this is about the future of poor people and people who need help in this country. If your dumb ass don't know how to put down the Democrat Republican bullshit, what the hell? What the hell is wrong with y'all? The hell is wrong with half of y'all?
Chamber wants to extend the ACA tax credits more than I do.
This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country.
It ain't gonna be none of that shit. They ain't gonna fight for jack shit. There's nothing to fight for.
We have an opportunity also to put Republicans on the record.
They're already on record. They're already on record. They went on record this July and said they ain't giving y'all medical or Medicaid. They don't care whether you die or get broke off. They not giving you medical or Medicaid. They don't care. The Republicans don't care. And they said, the Democrats seem to think getting a promise for a vote in December or beginning January means anything. It means nothing because all of the Republicans are going to vote no. And they're in the majority, which means it ain't going to pass, which means today is the best that you could have got and you got nothing.
On the ACA, are they committed to doing this?
Those were some of the excuses from the 8 pathetic Democrats who capitulated to Republicans. But according to them, this was actually a win, and we're all just too stupid to comprehend the 4-dimensional game of chess that they're playing. But if you're mad that they caved, don't you worry, because when funding expires at the end of January, they might not support funding then if Republicans go back on their promise for a vote on the ACA subsidies in December.
If the president doesn't agree and Republicans block the extension of ACA subsidies, would you guys be willing to vote again against government funding in January when this funding runs out?
That's certainly an option that I think everybody will consider.
Oh, I bet the Republicans are shaking in their boots at that kind of threat. Like, they just beat you in a game of chicken, but I'm sure that they expect you to hold strong the next time that there's a funding showdown, and they expect you to not capitulate like you always do every single time. And I want to be very clear about what these Democrats did. They effectively voted with Republicans to double and triple our healthcare premiums. People are going to die because of this capitulation. Because even if John Thune gives them the vote that he promised in December, which it's not going to happen, but I mean, even if it does happen, there's no guarantee that it's going to pass, which is why the shutdown was so important, because it was your leverage to get Republicans to vote affirmatively to extend the ACA subsidies that are expiring. But now they don't have to vote for shit because Democrats gave up their leverage. And to add insult to injury, Republicans didn't even agree to a vote in the House. In fact, here's what Mike Johnson said when he was asked whether or not he would allow a vote in the House if Thune struck a deal with Democrats in the Senate.
No, because we did our job and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out.
In other words, it's over. They folded. They gave up their leverage, and now our healthcare costs are going to go up because of what they did. They fucked us, even though they had momentum after Tuesday's election. Trump literally admitted that the showdown was hurting Republicans more than Democrats, but what did they do? Well, they chose to throw it all away, probably because their donors told them to end the shutdown. And now nobody's going to believe that Republicans are responsible for the shutdown, because the question is, well, okay, why didn't these 8 Democrats just vote 40 days ago to reopen government? Whereas if they held strong and got Republicans to buckle, then it would be, well, why didn't Republicans just vote to extend the ACA subsidies 40 days ago? But that's all out the window. And if I had to guess, I think that they were already planning to capitulate, but they wanted to wait until after the election so that way their base wouldn't be too pissed off before they cast their votes. But another element to the story that is disgusting is the gaslighting that these Democrats are engaging in. The 8 Democrats who caved, they're not up for election until 2028 or 2030. One of them, I believe Jeanne Shaheen, is retiring, which is long enough for voters to forget this betrayal. And even though...
Do you honestly think this is an L? Do you think this is an L, Osmos God? Are you that pathetic that it's an L for me instead of it being an L for the American people? This is the shit you Republicans do. You don't stand for nothing. This is an L for all of American people who don't have any health care, for all of the poor people. Stop coming over here caping for rich people, Osmos God. Stop doing that. You maggots make me sick when you come over here and cape for rich people. This is an L for all the poor people. What the fuck are you talking about? L for me. Are you mad? Are you mad?
Chuck Schumer put out videos insisting that he was voting against this funding package. He's the one who gave them the green light behind the scenes, as journalist David Dayen reports. And
nobody set the subsidies to expire. It extended, the law extended them only until this December. It wasn't the Democrats.
Shaheen confirmed that this was the case in an interview on Fox News.
Did you do this outside leadership, and was there a big push for you not to join the others and break the 60 threshold?
No, we kept leadership informed throughout.
In other words, Chuck Schumer knew, and he's putting on this show to obscure his role in order to avoid blowback because he's responsible.
And we know he's responsible. We knew that Chuck Schumer had another agenda. That's the whole point. We need to get rid of all of these people because they just screwed a portion of the electorate that can't afford insurance as it goes. They can't afford insurance now. But because the Democrats were trying to hold out for the poor people, and Chuck Schumer said, oh no, let's just give in to them. Now they get nothing. All of those poor people, what the fuck you think those poor people are going to do and they don't have insurance? What the hell is going to happen now?
And he already got a lot of shit earlier this year when he caved, so he didn't want the backlash again. So that's why he's like putting on this whole charade and why those 8 Democrats are giving him cover. At best, Chuck Schumer failed to whip votes to stop his caucus from betraying their voters, but at worst, he orchestrated the entire fucking thing. Either way, he's culpable here. And there are reports that there were 10 Democrats who were actually planning to cave, but presumably, this is my speculation, they opted to just have 8 Democrats cave in order to minimize backlash because there are a lot of Democrats in vulnerable seats, so they want the party to not be as hated going into 2026. And while all of this is going on behind the scenes, you have Chuck Schumer out in front disingenuously pretending like he's going to continue to fight and that the fight's going to continue regardless of how things come out. Like, I want to show you this video where he's talking about, oh, well, if this happens, we're going to continue to fight, even though he knew that this was the way that the vote was going to go. Just watch this disingenuous bullshit. It's just so infuriating to me.
However this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin.
And that's what I don't like. They knew this is a game with all of those people. It's a game with the Republicans and the Democrats. It's a game to keep us stuck where we are. The whole point was you all should have gotten that Obamacare taken care of. What you really should have did was you should have just extended Medicare and Medicaid to all of those people. Instead of putting Obamacare or ACA into place, you should have extended the Medicare and Medicaid. Now the Republicans came back around and are trying to get rid of the Medicaid, Medicare, and the ACA. Why not just try to fix it? Okay. Why not try to fix it? Okay. Of course I'm going to vote. Of course I'm going to vote for Democrat, Fred. I am a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Your company, your party only cares about the rich. Don't come over here caping for the rich people, Fred. Don't come over here caping for the rich people. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Your party has done enough damage to this country. But I think it's a game between both of these parties. I think it's a game to keep people from having from having health care, from getting above. Because if you have decent health care, if your health care doesn't cost that much money, you can don't have to worry about going to the doctor. You don't have to worry about getting sick. You don't have to worry about all of those kind of things. Nobody gets played, Fred. You get played. You gave your money to a rich man who gave your money. No, I'm sorry. You got scammed out of your money by a rich man who gave your money to rich men, including Argentina. Shut your ass up. So if you voted for Donald Trump, you the one got scammed. We didn't get scammed. Y'all got scammed. So the whole point was, if we could have got them to fix ACA in some way, shape, or form, if they would have got that, I would have been okay. But they didn't even get that. They didn't get no promise to fix ACA. ACA needs to be fixed. That's the whole point. It needs to be fixed and affordable for these people who make between $15,000 and $30,000.
Great job, Chuck. Love the passion there. You can really tell how much he cares. You know, the fact that he had to read what a staffer wrote for him on a piece of paper instead of just speaking from the heart really demonstrates how much he cares about us losing our healthcare, right? Listen, obviously, he doesn't give a shit about us. He doesn't give a shit.
Difference is, Osmos God, I didn't want my money to go over there. You wanted your money. You wanted to pay for the rich people. You wanted to get scammed out of your money. I didn't want to get scammed out of my money.
About Americans who are going to die because they're going to lose their health care. And if he did care, he wouldn't have let the 8 Democrats that voted to betray us. And this is like, what, the 1,000th fucking betrayal in the last few years? But at least his donors are going to be satisfied with the outcome, right? We might lose healthcare. People might have their premiums double and triple. People might die if they lose their healthcare, but at least the donors are going to be satisfied, right? Because that's what Chuck Schumer cares about at the end of the day. That is all these people care about. But the silver lining is that Chuck Schumer may have just put the final nail in the coffin of his career, because this is the second time in the same year he bent over and spread his ass cheeks for Republicans. And voters are starting to realize that nothing is going to change so long as leadership remains in place. And people are so fucking pissed off that now they're starting to speak out. All 8 of the Democrats are getting ratioed and ripped to shreds on Twitter. And some of their colleagues in the House are also outraged, seeing as how this capitulation reflects.
As they should, as every person in Congress should. Every one of them should lose their job. Republicans and all the leadership. Republicans and Democrats. Thank God we're on track to get rid of the Republicans, because they have no pushback for what's going on. And we need a change in leadership, and we need some kind of pushback. The Republicans have no pushback. I guarantee you, the ACA, these people are going to have no health insurance. The hospital's going to be overrun. All of those things. Because nobody has any pushback for these Republicans. Nobody has any, even including these weak-ass Democrats. Yes, we definitely need term limits, because you need to do whatever you need to do in order to make the country better. When you are not making the country better, you do not deserve to have your position. That includes Democrats. And I'm a middle of the road Democrat, almost an independent. But you need to lose your job. Every last one of these people need to lose their job. If you cannot figure out how to give poor people health care, if you all, none of you all can figure out, Democrat and Republican, can figure out how to give people health care, all of you guys need to lose your jobs. All of y'all need to lose your jobs.
Poorly on the entire party. Axios reports that everyone's furious, from elected Democrats on the left and center to Democratic adjacent organizations like Move On. Becca Balint of Vermont said it was BS and says people need healthcare, damn it, not some lame promise about a mythical future vote. They continue, people are furious, a centrist House Democrat speaking on the condition of anonymity to share details of internal discussions told Axios. It's an awful deal and a total failure to use leverage for anything real. Another Democrat told Axios there is near universal frustration and that everyone seems to be united that we should be opposed and that this isn't a good deal. So there's near universal condemnation within the party, and just to demonstrate how badly these 8 Democrats fucked up, even Ezra Klein and get this, Matt Iglesias condemned them for caving to Republicans. Do you know how badly Democrats have to screw up to be condemned by Matt Iglesias? To show you what I mean, he tweeted, I was sympathetic ex ante to the view that Senate Dems were being pushed by an angry base into a tactically unwise course of action. But in fact, it's worked just fine, and both the polling and election results confirm that. Bizarre to give up now for peanuts. Yeah, so needless to say, when the party is even disappointing Matt fucking Iglesias, they're in pretty bad shape. But to say that they're getting peanuts would be too generous, because they're getting jack fucking shit. And I think that The Onion put it best. Democrats sick of being blamed for cowardice on issues they actually just don't care about. Another one, Chuck Schumer helps pull Democrats back from brink of courage. You know things are bad when a satirical news outlet does a better job at accurately portraying the situation than any mainstream outlet could. But here's the thing. There's always going to be a rotating villain in a party that is effectively controlled opposition for all intents and purposes.
So controlled opposition, meaning you didn't see or hear them say anything. You didn't hear them say or do anything against the Republicans. You didn't hear them say Republicans don't want to give y'all health care. You didn't hear them say Republicans are cowards or Republicans are X, Y, and Z. You didn't hear any of them say that, because they already, all of them are under the same umbrella, getting paid by the same people to screw over the American people. All of them, Republicans and Democrats. That's why they need to be gotten rid of. But see, the problem is the left are in minority. So therefore, they're not the ones that are really the most harmful. The most harmful right now are the Republicans. So those are the ones that have to go. Those are the ones that have to change, because they're not doing anything for the American public. The Republicans they got rid of Medicaid and Medicare. They cut a portion of that out. How much, wait a minute, portion it out. What did they do? Medicare is, okay, they did $536 billion in cuts out of Medicare. Okay. Medicaid is set to see a large reduction in their enrollees, eligibility verification rules, all of that. So it's a whole bunch of cuts. Okay. Even though it doesn't happen right like immediately, all of these things are going to be cut, specifically out of the Democratic social programs. So we're going to be screwed. So neither party wants to help the common man, the poor man. Neither one of them wants to help the common poor man.
If it's not Joe Lieberman, then it's Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. If it's not them, then it's John Fetterman and Jeanne Shaheen. There's always going to be somebody that they present us with as scapegoats, so that way we direct our anger towards them and think about the Democratic Party's numerous failures as individualistic as opposed to systemic, when it is indeed systemic. It is nothing more than political theater, what we're seeing. And this is probably the most explicit example of that I've ever seen.
This is all political theater. All of it, including the Republicans and everything. All of this shit is theater, okay? The whole point is we need a whole nother party. We need a different party. We need some kind of party that started that we need to get rid of these parties. We need to support maybe a working class party. I don't know, a working class party, a poor man's party. We need to figure from the ground up, we need to support different candidates. Different candidates that are not Democrat and Republican, because they're not meaning anything. The Republicans proved that they were for the rich this summer when they decided that they were going to give all the tax cuts to the rich. They didn't give jack shit to the poor people. They could have extended the Medicaid, Medicare to the poor people. They could have did that, but they didn't want to. They cut all of that out. That's the whole point. They got rid of all of that. From poor people, y'all, between 15 and 30,000, they got rid of those subsidies for those poor people, which meant those subsidies would go up, which they knew once the subsidies went up, the Republicans knew once those subsidies went sky high and were taken away, that the poor people were going to abandon the ACA because they couldn't afford it. They knew what they were doing.
But make no mistake about it, almost every single Democrat is to blame here. Some more than others, yes, but all of them are to blame because they are collectively protecting leadership from accountability when they should be throwing them to the fucking wolves. Case in point.
Do you support Chuck Schumer to lead Senate Democrats going forward?
So, Chris, again, we found ourselves in a situation I don't think the Senate has found itself in before.
I will note, Senator, that given two opportunities, you did not voice your unequivocal support for Chuck Schumer, but his job, at least for the moment, is not over. If this compromise plan does lead to the government...
I will say Chuck Schumer and the leadership of the Senate are dealing with an incredibly complex situation.
Now, if you look online, people are reacting to that clip positively, and they're viewing Mark Kelly's refusal to endorse Schumer's leadership as significant. But personally, I regard it as cowardice and spinelessness, because he is not saying what he should be explicitly saying, but he's not alone, because even Bernie Sanders, like others, are blaming the 8 Democrats, which they should do, of course, but he's not naming Chuck Schumer or calling out leadership's failures altogether that got us to this point. And even though Hakeem Jeffries kept his caucus together, he's still defending Chuck Schumer and agreed that he's an effective leader that should keep his job. And even though that's objectively untrue, Hakeem Jeffries knows that he needs to defend Chuck Schumer, because if Schumer falls, then he knows he's next. But nothing is going to ever change if leadership remains in place. But the dam is actually starting to crack, because Ro Khanna, to my knowledge, became the first sitting Democrat to explicitly call on Schumer to be replaced. Mark Pocan essentially did the same thing while not naming Schumer explicitly. So Democrats are starting to dip their toes in the water to see how calling on leadership to resign feels. But it's our job to kick their asses in the fucking water and force them to call out leadership and put pressure on them to resign. See, if we pressure Schumer himself to resign, that's not going to work, because he doesn't care what we think. He's proved time and time again that he's not going to heed our calls for him to resign. The last time he buckled, he was going on a book tour as if everything was copacetic after he just fucked us over. He doesn't care. So that's...
He's beholden to his donors. They are all beholden to their donors. AIPAC, Israel, you name it, they're beholden to those people. above and beyond us poor people. So they don't care. They're going to do what they want to do because they don't care about the regular, everyday, average American person. They know people are going to die because they don't have this ACA. They know people are going to be broke off come January because they don't have ACA. They don't care. They don't care one way or the other.
That's why I'm asking all of you who have Democratic senators to call on them and politely demand that they ask Chuck Schumer to resign. If you have one of the 8 Democrats who betrayed us, then call on them and let them know that they disappointed you. But if you have a different Democratic Party senator who didn't betray you but hasn't called on Chuck Schumer to resign, which is all of them, I'm going to put a link under the like button to a directory that'll give you the phone numbers of your U.S. senators. My senators are Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, and I'm going to call them to initiate what I'm calling Operation Oust Schumer, because we cannot let this stand. If there is no accountability for what just happened, then nothing is ever going to change. And it's not like getting rid of leadership is going to solve all of the Democratic Party's problems, but accountability is the first step to actually course correcting.
Yes, and we got to do that. We got to start holding them all accountable. We got to start holding all of the Democrats accountable. We got to start definitely holding the Republicans accountable. The problem is, I don't get to vote for Schumer. I'm not in his state, so I don't vote for Schumer. Makes no sense. My whole point is we have to hold all of these senators accountable, including the Republicans, when they do bullshit like they did with this big, beautiful garbage bill. Nobody that was poor got anything out of this big, beautiful bill. Oh, that's what I meant to ask. Whoever voted Republican, any of you maggots, put in the chat what the big, beautiful bill did for you. You all hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button. Please and thank you. Put all of that down. Put your like button, share button, subscribe button. Do it now. Like button. Click the like button. It's right there under the video. Please and thank you. Click the like button. Okay? I don't have Schumer in my state, so I would not vote for Schumer. But we have to start holding these people accountable, Republican and Democrat, until they start doing things for the poor people. Because the poor people are not getting anything out of this government. We just keep going on and on and on and on. I want to know, what did the big, beautiful bill do for you all? Since you all like to cape for rich people, I'd like to know what it did for you poor people. Okay? And that's the problem with you, user. You live in this country too. And you all haven't done anything for this country either. That's the problem.
So the first one I'm going to call on camera is Ron Wyden. His number is 202-224-52.
Shut your ass up, Rainy girl. Don't come over here caping for rich people. Don't come over here caping for the rich people who gave your money away. You got scammed out of your money, and then the scammer gave your money to rich men, and then the rich men gave Argentina money, scammed you out of money like that. Don't come over here caping for no rich people, Rainy girl.
42, and please do not call my senators, call your senators, because we need all of them to know that we are done.
How you got poor people over here caping for rich people against poor people? Make it make sense.
With leadership, this was the final straw.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again. Announcement for welcome to Verizon.
All of our money got, no, the difference is, Fred, I didn't get scammed. The people who voted Republican got scammed. We didn't vote Republican, but our money had to go over there. So we got scammed. You got scammed. We didn't get scammed. We knew that he was going to scam y'all. We knew that.
Wireless. Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
Okay, let me try Merkley. I don't know why it's not going through. I'll get another number for Wyden in a second.
Calling his representative.
Senator Merkley's office, how can I help you?
Hi, this is a constituent of Senator Merkley. I just wanted to call and request that he become the first senator to call on Chuck Schumer to resign.
I've got a little note of that now. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, while I'm at it, if he could sign on to Senator Chris Van Hollen's legislation to do an arms embargo on the UAE for funding the RSF, which is committing genocide in Sudan, that would also be really great as well.
Okay, I'll make a note of that one.
Thank you.
But thank you for calling in today.
Yeah, thank you so much. And please tell the senator that I'm pleased that he's one of the best senators in the country. But I think that it would be awesome if he got the ball rolling on getting rid of leadership that is just not getting it done, to put it mildly.
I hear you. I'll get that logged down and pass it off to the senator. But thanks for calling in, and I hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
That's how you do it. You call up your senator and you say, I'm not satisfied with what you're doing. And so therefore you can log into that. You can call them and then do that with your senator. Everybody can do that with their senator.
Okay, so I'm going to call Ron Wyden's Portland office. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get an answering machine. But, you know, sometimes you get to talk to a person and just be polite because they're not responsible. They work for shitty, corrupt senators. So be polite, but, you know, don't be afraid to tell them how you feel.
Yeah, but that's better than the calling. The calling can be logged and they can log the calls. Nobody said it was going to do X, Y, and Z. But the whole point is to get millions of callers on record. Get people on record as calling to say they're dissatisfied with their they're satisfied with their leadership, instead of being just sheep and not doing anything. Well, that's all we have are people bitching and complaining. Oh, it's always gonna be this way. We can't do anything. We don't with X, Y, and Z. Of course, if you don't have anything to say, you don't want to do anything, that's fine and dandy. Some of us want to get involved with this, our government. Some of us want our government to be better. Some of us want our government to work for all of us. That's the whole point. Do you want the government to work for you? Do you want the government to work better for you? Or we just gonna take it up the ass every time they want to take our money? Okay. That's all everybody is doing now. The only thing you can do is start at the bottom. And hopefully you make a change one way or the other. All I know is I'm sick of all of these Republicans and these Democrats. Sick of all of them taking the money and saying they're helping the American people. Yeah. Brain rot, run wild. They running wild in here. They crazy up in here. The government should work for us. Are you crazy, JD? What the JD? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Y'all wild. You come in here with that bullshit again, don't y'all? Zombies. Okay. We don't have to deal with the calling, but
Sending weapons to Israel, who is committing a genocide on the Palestinian people, and stop taking AIPAC money in 2025. There's no reason why you should be still supporting them. On top of that, support Medicare for all, because if we had a universal single-payer healthcare system that was free at the point of service, we wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place. And you've never supported Medicare for all. And if you don't actually start changing for the better, I might have to think seriously about voting for a primary opponent next time you're up for election. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's get Schumer out. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. Thank you so much for your consideration. All right, so you know what to do. Call your senators and let them know that this is not okay. They must request that Senator Schumer resign. This is Operation Oust Chuck Schumer, and it starts with us. He's not going to go down if we call his office, but you know, if you call your senator and let them know you're not happy, then that's how maybe we give them a nudge in the right direction. So make those calls.
Yeah, so this is where we at. So this is where we at. This is what we got to do. We got to do something because the leadership has to go. We got to get rid of the leadership. I don't know how it is, but some of us have got to get on the same page. Okay, See, the problem is people have a problem with ACA. ACA needs to be fixed.
Out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not that's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium, $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income. Not an.
I couldn't believe that they booed his ass, Ty Pro. I couldn't believe they booed him.
30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing if you're making $85,000 a year.
Just made it clear they weren't going to discuss the health care issue, the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Thank you, Ty Pro. Member for 3 months. HQ, keep cooking, and I'm glad they booed Trump. Lions won on Sunday. Ooh, that's bogus. They did. People can't stand Trump. That's the honest to God truth. They can't really stand him. But they got to put up with him, and we'll hopefully when we get to next midterm, we can burn up either the House or the Senate or both. Because if we get House and Senate or both, oh yeah, he will be impeached. That's for sure. But all his administration, if they get another president, if they get a Democratic president in 2028, I believe it'll be Gavin Newsom. And then they might try to run, what is his name? The gay boy, the gay one, the one that's the bisexual or gay. What's his name? J.D. Vance. 9 times out of 10, they probably going to try to run him. It's going to be impossible. Oh, it's impossible. Okay, we'll see. The blue wave is coming. It'll come again. We ain't worried about it. Because they can't stand Trump. He's at his lowest rating, 37%. He's at the lowest rating that he's ever been. They can't stand him. Nobody can stand him. Even his party can't stand him. That's why they fighting. That's why they over there fighting now. That's why you got Nick Fuentes over there fighting with the Shapiro and what is it, Candace Owens and all of them goofy people. That's why they over there fighting, because they trying to figure out what the fuck they gonna do after he kicks the bucket. They can't stand him
until the shutdown was over.
My vote today was to do 2 things. One is to make sure that the government is functioning so that our kids eat, so that our elderly citizens eat, so that our air traffic controllers can get some sleep and earn money, get paid while they are working, and continue the fight to a realistic platform to get the premium tax cuts done. And if that is not successful, then shame on the Republican Party and shame on Donald Trump.
Most of us up here in the group of 8 that voted for this tonight have voted repeatedly with the Democratic strategy, but after 40 days, it wasn't going to work.
We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write.
Which means nothing. Which means the Republicans are going to vote no on everything. And they're in the majority, which means getting a vote, guaranteed vote, written by you means nothing.
That the Republicans will write, although I do think it's important for us.
That's the problem with you, Mad Lady Libby. They're tired of the Republicans, not the Democrats. They're tired of the Republicans. Please understand where you all are at in history. That's why you're having the infighting that you're having now. They're turning on each other. Please understand where you stand. Please understand where you stand.
So there's an explosive update on the government shutdown is what I'm hearing, right? So it's not what you're being told. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we just had a blue wave because they can't stand Democrats. Libby, you're a zombie.
The headlines say it's about health care and rising premiums. You've heard it all, right? And then Democrats are saying that Trump wants to raise the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's not that he wants to. That's not the full picture. Here's what's actually going on. So when Obamacare, which, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act, first came in, it made health insurance mandatory. But after COVID, President Biden signed new legislation that temporarily expanded subsidies, basically tax credits, to make health insurance cheaper for Americans. Now, these weren't just discounts. And here's how it works. It's pretty scary to think about it. Department of the Treasury sent the difference in cash directly to the insurance companies. So if your premium was, let's say, $600 a month, and the new plan lowered it to $400, the government literally paid the $200 difference straight to your insurer. That's billions of tax dollars going out every single month directly to private insurance companies. Those enhanced subsidies expire on the 31st of January or 31st of December 2025, and starting in January, that money stops. And when it stops, premiums go back up fast. Millions of Americans will suddenly see their costs go up by 20 or 30% or more. So we got to do something. So why is Washington gridlocked? Well, because those subsidies aren't just helping you. They're a cash pipeline for the insurance industry. And there it is. It's also free money for illegal health insurance. Boom, there it was. And when that pipeline closes, the insurance companies lose billions of free money. That's why the Democrats are filibustering and refusing to move forward. They're not doing it for you. They're doing it for the companies funding their re-election campaigns and the illegals who they hope will vote for them. Insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, corporate donors, the groups that pump millions into campaign coffers every cycle is who we're talking about. They're telling the politicians, you either extend this program or we're going to fund your opponent next election. And that's exactly what's happening. The Democrats are shuffling. So the government stays shut down. The American people get held hostage, and the money keeps flowing. Not to you, but to the middlemen. So let's call it what it is. This shutdown isn't about protecting Americans. It's about protecting a cash pipeline from the U.S. Treasury straight into the private corporations and a new voter bloc for the Democrats. And until we break that loop, until citizens start leading, not career politicians protecting their donors, nothing changes. That's the citizen leadership I always keep talking about. Focusing on what's real, following the money and demanding accountability, not headlines. Because the truth is simple. If you're paying the bill, then you deserve to know where your money actually goes. Wouldn't you agree?
To no one's surprise and everyone's disappointment, the Democrats have caved. Yes. Hate to say that we saw this coming, but they held out longer than we thought they would. I think it's important to note that everyone who voted for the bill is not up for re-election in 2026. Most of them are all above the age of 70 and may not even be running for re-election when they're up for re-election. I think it's like 2028, 2030. It's a bummer. It's disappointing. Supposedly, the leader of the Senate, John Thune, said that they're going to vote on extending the ACA subsidies no later than the second week of December. But the leader of the House, Mike Johnson, said that he's pretty much against the Obamacare subsidies. Look at my hair. I don't care. It's 11:42 p.m. It's gonna be an interesting week. The government is still not open yet. This just means that the filibuster is broken so that the Senate can vote on the CR. And since the Senate Democrats voted to vote on the bill, they are going to vote for the bill. Then it's going to go to the House where they have enough votes to pass it since the Republicans have the majority. And then it's going to go to Trump, who's going to sign it. I'm not sure yet how long the CR is going to extend. I'll try to get that information and get back to you guys. But it's disappointing. I really, really hope that the Republicans stick to their promise and pass something extending the healthcare subsidy.
Well, we know that they're not going to do that, hon. We know that for a fact. We know they're not going to pass anything to extend the Medicare and the Medicaid. They already stood on, in July, cutting all the people off of medical and Medicaid. All those people going to get kicked off of Medicare and Medicaid. The Republicans already did it in July. They just waiting for the end of the year. So people keep hoping that the Republicans are going to do it, but they're not going to do it. Ty, I don't know why you arguing with all those racists in the chat. They ain't nothing but racists. Plus, they bigots. Plus, they hate gays, trans, immigrants, Hispanics, brown. They hate everybody. Everybody. Those are Republican ghouls. They're called ghouls and zombies because they don't stand on nothing. Ain't no sense in arguing with them people. You just having fun. You just betting at nobody that has no kind of a thought process. All the ghouls.
50s, but I'm not betting on it. Anyway, just wanted to update you guys.
It ain't illegals getting cooked.
Happy.
So here's an explosive update on the government shutdown is what I'm hearing, right? So it's not what you're being told. That's all I got to say. The headlines say it's about healthcare and rising premiums. You've heard it all, right? And then Democrats are saying that Trump wants to raise the cost of Obamacare. Well, it's not that he wants to. That's not the full picture. Here's what's actually going on. So when Obamacare, which, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act, first came in, it made health insurance mandatory. But after COVID, President Biden signed new legislation that temporarily expanded subsidies, basically tax credits, to make health insurance cheaper for Americans. Now, these weren't just discounts. And here's how it worked. It's pretty scary to think
Oh
about.
my God. Did you just say the Medicare and Medicaid was extended? No, it wasn't. It was cut. You see how the MAGA people just say any old damn thing? They just cut all of that Medicare and Medicaid. They cut all of that. It ain't no extension to it. I don't know where you get that there's an extension to it, Fred, but you're ill-informed. They got to read the bill. We already read the bill. We know they cut Medicaid and Medicare out of the bill. Up and down.
Continue to rise.
Obamacare, the signature legislation of the Obama era, now with premiums set to spike 300%. Young people now fleeing the program, and NPR saying that this is a death spiral for health insurance.
They cut $536 billion in cuts over the next decade of the big, beautiful bill. $536 billion out of that bill. $1 trillion in cuts over a 10-year period. Medicaid is going to be cut, reduced. It's not cuts to benefits today. Jesus.
And of course, Republicans don't like Obamacare, but remember this? I mean, that guy was popular with a lot of people on the left. Obamacare was this idea of universal health care, where health care is not a privilege but a right. This is from the Obama era website. The idea is this idea of risk pooling, where you put people into a risk pool and that is what makes insurance work. The problem with Obamacare is that people were forced to get into the risk pool. It wasn't optional. So there was a $750 annual fine for people who didn't want to participate in Obamacare or take on a health insurance program. This was hotly contested, and initially a district court found this unconstitutional. Then the Supreme Court overturned it and said that the individual mandate that forced people to buy health insurance, oftentimes through the health insurance marketplace, that was constitutional. And the unique thing about the ACA or Obamacare is that insurers were required to use a single risk pool when developing premiums. This is the problem. See, a risk pool assumes that risk is evenly distributed, like a random weather event. You're like, oh man, stinks for you. Good thing that we all share the risk of insurance. Now you get an insurance payout. See, that's not the way it works in healthcare, because we know that things like healthy lifestyles are the most controllable and influential factor in chronic disease, which consumes about 90% of our 5.3 trillion annual healthcare spend. In fact, when Democrats created Obamacare, they largely ignored every basic actuarial principle of insurance. And I don't know if they did this because they just had never done any business before and didn't know that the math wouldn't math if you basically forced people who were healthy to pay for something they'll never use, to then basically transfer their wealth to people who were unhealthy, or they just ignored that and thought that they would just sell this to the commoners and lie to them. But the only reason it hasn't already collapsed is because the Democrats passed additional taxpayer subsidies that insulated the insured from rising costs. So basically, taxpayers just paid more for this, the mistake of the Democrats. But I tell you who did get paid. So Obamacare was passed in March 2010. So the stock price of United Healthcare Group, one of the largest insurers in the United States, was $34-ish at the passing of Obamacare. In 2023, we were at about $600. That's a pretty good return on Obamacare. Or Merck, one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies, whose stock price was $36 on passage of Obamacare, and then up into 2023, it was more like $140. But now, the average family's health insurance plan is $27,000 a year, which is making people leave the Obamacare program, leave the marketplace. I mean, who can pay $27,000 for health insurance that you still are going to pay to receive care under, because you have deductibles that are often in the range of $20,000 or $30,000. So now all these health insurers stocks are crashing because enrollments are dropping. And now you have doctors doing things like opening their own cash pay clinics saying, we do not take insurance. Maybe that's because people like this lady were quoted $5,100 to get an MRI through her insurance, but if she paid cash, it would just be $700. Trump has tried to do something about this with pricing transparency executive orders. The first one ordered healthcare providers to just publish their prices, so then they just buried them on websites that were like 300 pages deep. So then he did a second one that makes it so that their prices have to be machine readable so that computers can go and get those prices and do things like set up price comparison websites. But regardless, John McCain in 2017 was the one who surprisingly shocked all Republicans and voted against the repeal of Obamacare, keeping it as law. So I don't know what the future is, but Obamacare is not working, and it's about to enter its death spiral phase for health insurance.
Dear friends, this is what the Democrats in Congress don't want you to know. That this shutdown is a big ploy to cover up their mistake with Obamacare. I'm sorry, I meant the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, was the greatest lie in the history of healthcare in America, because the affordable premiums are really not affordable when they keep rising. Healthcare costs keep climbing while too few healthy people buy in. Insurers must cover everyone.
He said, when too few healthy people buy in. That was the basis for Obamacare. Healthy people had to buy in too. But once they got rid of the individual mandate, healthy people didn't want to buy in. When they could have bought in and it could have made it better, but they didn't want to buy in. So this is where we at now. What do we do to fix healthcare?
Even those already sick. So they raise the prices so that they can stay afloat. When the Obamacare was passed by the Democrats, they didn't care that the plan was a big pyramid scheme. They just took the lobbyist money and filled the pockets of the big insurance companies with your money.
The proposed budget cuts, what did you find?
Yeah, look, as you said, Mika, healthcare has become the major issue in this shutdown, and for good reason, as I'm going to show you. You haven't heard Republicans say lately, let's repeal Obamacare, have you? I haven't heard, you probably haven't heard it, because it's not popular to say that. So they've been doing it surreptitiously, piece by piece. They are dismantling Obamacare, and that is what the Democrats are fighting for in this go-round. So let's take a look at the numbers. Obamacare started right about in here and with about 45 million Americans uninsured at the time. We brought it all the way down here to 25 million. In other words, 20 million Americans got insurance, largely, if not entirely, because of Obamacare. And now a combination of changes is going to bring that back up here. And it's going to take away 70% of the people who got health insurance under Obamacare are going to lose it, both because of what's in the big, beautiful bill and because of what's on the table right now, which I'm going to explain. And you can see it breaks down to a few pieces. These are the changes made in the big, beautiful bill. That's 10 million of this 14. And now what's on the table for this shutdown would be 4.2 million more people losing their health insurance if the Republicans get their way.
1:29 a.m. Senator McCain re-enters the chamber. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stands at the front of the room like he had most of the night. The grin on his face, though, quickly disappears.
Mr. Peters.
Senator Bernie Sanders appears to nudge Senator Jeanne Shaheen as if to say, "Watch this." McCain waves his hand to get the attention of the Senate clerk, pauses for just a moment, and gives a dramatic thumbs down. Audible gasp on the Senate floor, and then commotion. Some Democrats can't contain their excitement. Senator Elizabeth Warren leans in to get a better look and breaks into applause. Senator Dianne Feinstein, a single assertive clap. Senator Sherrod Brown slams his hand on the desk in affirmation, while some Republicans, like Senator Marco Rubio, stare in disbelief. Senator Bill Cassidy drops his head. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer turns and waves his arms, apparently trying to quiet them, as Senator John McCain turns around and walks back to his chamber desk all alone.
Mr. Reid.
Everybody rock with me because I'm up now. Took your girl and I'm scoring like
The process has been developed. It is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken, it is dysfunctional, it is cruel, it is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right, covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect.
You all hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button. I need you to hit the like button, please and thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, please and thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, please and thank you.
And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont...
Good morning, everyone. State Representative Afton Bain, the Democratic nominee for the 7th Congressional Special Election in Tennessee. Don't have the tiny mics because they are currently under my very chonky cat, and the cardinal rule in our house is that you do not disturb her when she is sleeping. So, but anyways, I went to bed early last night because I've been sick, and I woke up to the government shutdown possibly being ended, allegedly. But what last night shows us is we need a new generation of leadership in Washington. Career politicians have absolutely failed us. The 8 Senate Democrats who voted with the Republicans to cut a deal means that the Senate gets a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies. But currently Speaker Johnson has not agreed for a vote on this, to vote on this in the House. So that is why this race becomes so much more urgent, that healthcare is on the ballot. If we can pull off this victory on December 2nd, it'll absolutely stun Washington. If Van Epps wins, there will be no pressure on Speaker Johnson to let that vote happen on preserving the Affordable Care Act tax credits. But if we win, it changes everything. So as they said in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. Let's get out there. Early voting starts this Wednesday. Once again, we have a special congressional election in Tennessee. It's the last red to blue flippable seat in the entire country, and early voting starts this Wednesday.
The reason that we are trying to take action now on health care is because people's premiums are going up this coming week by letter. I'm struck by the extent